Coming up next weekend, the August 6th, 7th, and 8th, is the 80th anniversary of Billy's last escape up in Lincoln, New Mexico. Kent Mcinnis joins us from, are you in Lincoln or Capitan this morning, Kent?
Well, I'm actually in Ruidoso, but I am in Lincoln County, so
okay.
That counts.
Well, it does. Not that you couldn't talk about it if you weren't there.
No doubt.
I mean, you could have been at
the fairs this week. Is that what you were saying?
The Eddy County Fair is this week, but they kind of moved it around just a hair. So, are you a swine person or a goat person when you go to the fair?
You know what? I love bacon, so I think I'm a swine person. Yeah. So bacon's my deal. So that's an easy question. You're making it easy on me today, man.
Well, that's good.
Do they need a pie tester? Because I can do that good too.
I think they do. Of course, they also have an auction coming up, so they might need your money more than they need your tasting ability. So.
Well, I don't have money, but I can taste pies. So. If you need that, I'm right in there, man. I'm telling you.
You know, I got invited one year to do a chili cook-off judging. And there is a chili cook-off on Saturday at the fair. And one of the entries, I guess the best way to describe it would be the kitchen cabinet. And what they did was, for flavoring, they just went through all the cabinets in the kitchen, and whatever it was, if it was powder-like or whatever, they dumped it in the chili. And it was the most unique tasting chili I've ever had in my entire life. I never want to taste it again, Kent, but it was...
I should have patented that, because I think that's about every meal that I make is exactly that right there.
How old is the garlic? Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's going to just be melted in here. It really, that's, you cook it at that degree, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Didn't you get that spice rack when you got married? I did. Are you going to put it in there? Of course.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's on its way. Yeah, no doubt.
Well, the 80th anniversary. This is a long time that this pageant and festival has taken place up in Lincoln, New Mexico, and I know you've been a part of it pretty much most of your life, haven't you?
Yep, almost all my life, and all the kids' lives, and so on and so on and so on, and sisters and everybody else. And we're pumping on the 80th year, and as we talked before, we're kind of once removed from the 80th because we didn't have one last year.
Right.
But it gives everyone a good reason to come out and get in the cool mountains and enjoy being out of the house this year. So it's a fantastic idea to come see us for number 80.
Now, the actors, did you have any rehearsals or practice during the off time, or is it pretty much you took the time off and now we're coming back and getting ready for this year's festival?
Yeah, what we do is we're a 501c3, so we're a nonprofit. So we meet all year except the month really of November is the only month we don't meet. And so the preparations are all year long, and just so happens for the 80th, we've had 2 years. So we've got a good group that meets all year, but then we have the performers that came in last week, and we're on our second week of practice. And next week, by the time show comes, we're going to be on cue 100%, guaranteed.
Ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
How did the set survive? Everything look good with it since it had an extra year of non-use?
Well, let me tell you, one thing about that set, it was built in 1950. So the fact of it is the wind is brutal on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean brutal. So just about all the money we make that doesn't go to insurance or ammo goes right back into the facility. And yeah, we've had some hard working volunteers that's come out and did some fantastic work getting this thing ready to go. And we still got a little more work to do, but it'll be ready by next weekend for sure.
So it was built in, you said in 1950 or in the 50s?
Yeah. See, the first pageant, of course, was brought in for the Quattrocentennial celebration. So what they did, instead of having a set, they went to each location throughout the town. They just shut the town down and the highway, which they can't do anymore, But there's no detours anywhere unless you've got a nice four-wheel drive. But they just shut the town down. So they went to each individual spot and reenacted what took place there.
Wow.
And it was such a hit, it just became a yearly event. And it's one of the, if not the only, true remaining folk pageants left. We use guns, we use horses, we use wagons, and we use a sound booth. So the actors act, and all the voices come out of a sound booth.
Mm-hmm. So you don't have any trouble hearing what's being said or what the dialogue is going on.
Oh no, we're pumping some heavy. I guess, is this a word? Microphonage? How about that? Yeah, we got some good speakers rolling up there, and believe me, there is no problem hearing guns or voices at all.
So did the set pieces, when it was finally decided not to shut the town down and actually move it to the location that it is now and build a set for it, did the materials for the set come from the town, from the different buildings in town?
Yeah, it's always been a volunteer deal. So when those were built, when the actual props and stuff were built, I'm guessing, not real sure, but I'm guessing that there was a whole lot of volunteer and a whole lot of donations went into building that set originally. And it, when they build stuff back then, it's built really good. And let me tell you, they did a fantastic job on that set. But still, you get hammered by the wind, and it doesn't take much to start blowing 6 and 8 foot boards around.
Yeah. So when did they move from holding it on the street in the actual locations to move it to the pageant grounds that it is now and the set?
Well, 1941/42 in that era is when it originally started. So they did a few years right there of shutting the street down. And then, of course, I'm sure they got to the point of where we just can't do this anymore. And Wilbur Coe went ahead and donated the land right next to the courthouse where the kid made his escape right there. And they built the set, and that's where it still remains.
So it's on the spot.
It's on the spot. I mean, our corner fence is probably 100 feet from that courthouse building where the kid killed both deputies and made his escape right there.
Do
if you've never been to Lincoln, it's fantastic. It's got museums. There's shops through the town. The town really comes to life for the weekend. And if you haven't been there, or even if you have been there, it is such a unique place. It's not like and I love Tombstone. It's not Tombstone. You don't have your rattlesnake eggs in the little pouch, and they've really preserved it really nice. I mean, you're stepping back into some unique history in that.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, Ken. And I mean, you've been a part of this for the most of your life. Do you get a feeling either at pageant time or when the festival is going on? Does that sense of history? I mean, do you kind of feel it in the air? What's it like?
You know what? I feel it in the air every time I go to Lincoln. It's just a unique place. So to have the festival and to have the pageant, all we do is up ramp what's going on in town. But that feeling and being in a total unique place that just doesn't exist anymore is there every single time, whether I'm driving through it or I'm standing in it. All the festival does is just uptick the interest in it. That's really what it does. Have
any of the Hollywood actors that have portrayed Billy the Kid in various movies or TV shows, have they ever paid a visit to Lincoln and checked out the actual place?
I think they have. I've heard some stories. I was a historian for a little bit there in Lincoln, so I never seen any, but I heard some stories, especially after the Young Guns.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, when Young Guns happened, our best year still on the books, even though we weren't charging near as much as we do now, our best year on the books was the year after Young Guns. That still holds a record. I mean, we were just packed to the gills after Young Guns. I mean, that was just such a huge smash.
We're talking with Kent Mcinnis. He's with Billy's Last Escape, 80th Anniversary Pageant and Festival, which is coming up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, August 6, 7, and 8. Why do you think there's so much history or discussion or legend around Billy the Kid? Part of it, to me, I mean, there were all kinds of characters like that in the Old West. Part of it, to me, sounds like relates a little bit to that one photo. There's that one, was it a tintype? that one image.
The one tintype?
Yeah, that's like the only picture we have of this notorious outlaw. I think that adds to the legend of this particular character. What do you think?
Well, I think it does too, but let's be honest, you know, when John Tunstall came from England and he was shot, that sparked a little bit of tension between England and the U.S. In fact, a lot of tension. And, you know, we had a president at that time that even stated Lincoln, New Mexico is the most dangerous street in America.
Mm-hmm.
So the focus went from your huge cities all the way down to little Lincoln, New Mexico, and that was a focal point. And then you have your little dime store novels and stuff that were being kicked out back east, and really there were things being put in those little novels and comic books that just was Billy the Kid this, Billy the Kid that, and I think the name kind of captured it. But you know, he was a special kind of guy in an era and a time where your life expectancy was 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
This guy went through, heck, I can think of 6 different times he should have been killed, and he was able to get out of each one of those situations. And a lot of people believe he got out of the situation in Fort Sumner too. I mean, that still goes on. There's still a debate about that. The kid has always sparked interest when he was alive, and it's just carried on now. And I'm telling you, people have just done a great job of preserving that, and I think that's why you see it.
That's right. Well, I remember former Governor Bill Richardson, when he was governor, so it's been a few years now, went through that whole process to try to do some DNA analysis and all that. I don't think he ever got approval for that, did he?
I'm not sure how far that went. I know there's been, you know, the photograph type deal, the tintype, where they were trying to match faces and see if there were any other out there. And you know, then we've had well, Steve Cedarwall there at Captain. I was just talking to him this morning before I got on the air with you, and he's done some awesome work. Him and his detectives with Cold West Files, they took and did a modern day search over as you would at a crime scene, and like a CSI.
Mm-hmm.
And they found tons of stuff that would aid or even sometimes question some of the historical facts that come out. So that's always been a neat little strategy that I've thought about from time to time. So the interest is, I mean, it's there. It just the Old West. We've got it right in our own backyard. There's no doubt what happened in Lincoln, and it's famous. You know, there are very few things that people can relate to across the world. When you tell them you're from where Billy the Kid was, 9 out of 10 know that, and they know what Billy the Kid is.
Right.
And then they just have to relate where you're from then.
That's right.
Tie it all in.
That's right. Kent, can we take a break for just a second? I'm supposed to
absolutely
play a newscast and, a commercial or two, but you can stick around for a little while longer, I hope.
Absolutely.
All right. Kent Mcinnis is with us. We're talking about the Billy's Last Escape, 80th anniversary, reunion of the Billies. We'll ask him about that and the Pageant Festival, which is coming up next weekend in Lincoln, New Mexico. Let's check in with Jared, see what he's got in the way of news, and we'll be back.